You already know what it feels like. The weight that does not announce itself. It just accumulates. Responsibilities that keep expanding. Pressure that does not pause when you need it to. Problems that do not resolve cleanly, they just shift shape. And at some point, a man stops asking when it will get lighter. He starts asking a different question. How do I carry this without it destroying me? That question, not, how do I escape the weight, but, how do I carry it well, is one of the most important questions a man can bring to Stoic philosophy. Because the Stoics were not interested in lives without difficulty. They were obsessed with one thing: what kind of man you become while the difficulty is happening. Seneca wrote to a friend who was drowning in grief and obligation, "It is not that I ask you to be tough. I ask you to be honest about what you can control within what you are carrying. The rest is not weakness to feel. It is wisdom to release. That distinction is everything." The Stoics were not teaching suppression. They were not building men who feel nothing and show nothing and quietly disintegrate behind a composed face. They were teaching something much harder: how to feel the weight fully, name it honestly, and then choose, deliberately, how much of it you carry forward and how much you set down. Not all weight is yours to keep. And a man who cannot tell the difference will eventually break under a load that was never entirely his to begin with. Some weight belongs to you completely. Your commitments, your responsibilities, the consequences of your choices. The people who depend on you, the work that is genuinely yours to do. The Stoics did not ask you to put that down. They asked you to carry it consciously. There is a difference between a man who carries his responsibilities with awareness, who knows what he is carrying and why, and a man who carries them on autopilot, piling more and more on top, never stopping to examine the load. The second man does not break dramatically. He erodes. Slowly, over months, over years, the weight that was once meaningful becomes just mass. The work that once had purpose becomes just pressure. The relationships that once energized become just obligation. And he does not notice it happening because he is too busy carrying to stop and look at what he is actually holding. Marcus Aurelius returned to this problem repeatedly in the Meditations. As emperor, his load was genuinely incomprehensible. Every decision had consequences for millions. Every failure had a name and a face. And yet he wrote, "Confine yourself to the present. Not because the past and future do not matter. Because a man who carries the weight of every past failure and every future uncertainty at the same time will collapse. The load that belongs to you, carried in the present, is manageable. The same load plus every version of it across time is not. Here is something most men never examine. A significant portion of the weight they are carrying does not actually belong to them. Other people's expectations they adopted without questioning. Standards they inherited from fathers who had their own unexamined burdens. Guilt for things that were not in their control. Responsibility for other people's emotions, choices, outcomes. This weight feels real, it has genuine mass. But it is borrowed weight. And Epictetus had a name for this error. He called it confusing what is up to us with what is not up to us. You cannot carry another person's life for them. You can support, you can show up, you can offer what is genuinely yours to give. But the moment you take on the full weight of someone else's choices, you are not helping them. You are depleting yourself, while leaving them exactly where they were. The hardest version of this is carrying the weight of outcomes you cannot control. A relationship that is struggling despite everything you have done. A career that is not moving despite genuine effort. A person you love who is making choices you cannot stop. The Stoics were precise here. Your effort, your character, your presence, those are yours to give fully. The outcome is not yours to carry. Setting down the weight of an outcome is not giving up. It is recognizing the boundary of what is actually in your hands. And a man who can make that distinction, cleanly and without self-deception, carries dramatically less than he thinks he has to. So what does it actually look like, the practice of carrying weight well? The first thing is taking inventory. Not of your tasks, of your load. Sit with the question, what am I currently carrying? Write it down if you need to. Name every piece. The professional pressure, the relational tension, the financial weight, the unresolved grief, the deferred decision. Name it all. Because weight that is unnamed stays diffuse. It becomes a general heaviness that colors everything without being attached to anything specific. Named weight can be examined. And examined weight can be sorted. What on this list is genuinely mine? What on this list belongs to someone else, or to an outcome I cannot control? The second thing is deciding, consciously, what to carry forward today. Not forever, today. The Stoics were not asking for a permanent reorganization of your responsibilities. They were asking for a daily, honest accounting. What is mine to carry right now? I carry it fully, with full presence. What is not mine, or not mine to carry today? I set it down deliberately, not with guilt, but with clarity. The third thing is the one most men skip entirely. Rest without apology. A man who cannot rest without feeling like he is failing will never sustainably carry anything heavy. Rest is not the opposite of endurance. It is what makes endurance possible. Seneca wrote, "Take care of your body, for it is the only vessel you have for carrying the life you are building." The Stoics were not opposed to recovery. They were opposed to escape. Rest in order to return. Rest in order to carry better. That is not weakness dressed up in philosophy. That is the most practical form of discipline a man can practice. The weight will not always get lighter. Some of it is permanent. Some of it is the cost of a life lived with genuine commitment to the people and work that matter. The Stoics were honest about that. They did not promise relief. They promised something more valuable, the capacity to carry what is yours, without being destroyed by it. That capacity is not a gift. It is built, slowly, through the daily practice of knowing what belongs to you, setting down what does not, and choosing, every morning, to carry your portion with intention rather than resentment. A man who carries his weight consciously is not diminished by it. He is shaped by it. Not broken, not bitter. Stronger in exactly the places the weight fell. That is what the Stoics were building. Not a life without burden. A man who can bear his. Walk the path. Remain steady.